Live from the Belmont County Newsroom, this is Hix Do Tha News. Trailer full of lab monkeys overturns on I-70 in Belmont County, Ohio. St. Clairsville, Ohio, at dusk on Thursday evening, a pickup truck carrying a motorcycle, pulling a trailer full of 53 lab monkeys, overturns. Rear-ended a van being driven by a 64-year-old Gary Landfield of Barnesville. Landfield was transported but is expected to recover. Authorities said it happened at the Flushing exit on I-70 in Belmont County. The monkeys were on their way to the lab in Maryland. According to an Ohio wildlife officer at the Belmont County Animal Shelter and officials at the Oglebay Good Zoo, it was believed all the monkeys were alive. The monkeys were still in their cages, cannot take the cold and carry the risk of disease. Kyle McDougall of King George, Virginia, was cited for not allowing clear distance. Now over to you, Jeremy.
2 Wheeling residents were sent to the Northern Regional Jail on Saturday for allegedly fighting with police. Authorities were called to the 15th Street around 2:30 at Saturday on some report of people fighting. When people tried to break up the fight, authorities say 24-year-old Percy St. Clair put up a bear hug on an officer, shoved him in the car, and struck him in the back. Police claim the 25-year-old Rodine Bennett pushed an officer during the fight. Bennett was taken to the Northern Regional Jail on charges of battery on an officer. Her bond was set at $50,000. St. Clair's bond was
$110,000.
It was big.
It was.
It was big.
Big.
He faces 2 counts on battery of an officer. Over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Steubenville McDonald's customer snaps. In Steubenville, Ohio today, workers at the Steubenville McDonald's on Sunset Boulevard claim Michael Chapman, 53, snapped when he was told he couldn't walk through the drive-thru window. According to one worker, Chapman tried to pull him out that window. Police said Chapman then went inside with his dog. When Chapman was told he couldn't have his dog in the restaurant, workers said he then started attacking them. One of the workers said that they were hit in the stomach with a wet floor sign. Chapman pleaded guilty to the incident, and he'll be behind bars for about 7 months. He was warned by Judge Dan Spann, can't make it up, to stop making obscene gestures to the camera of News Channel 7. Spann put Chapman on a 1-year probation. When he gets out of jail, the man is also ordered to stay away from the Steubenville McDonald's and the 4 workers that were working there. Over to you, Jeremy.
In the international news, in San Marcos, Texas, the results are in. The ugly big-eared animal found this summer in southern Texas is not the mythical blood-sucking Chupacabra. It's just a plain old coyote. Biologists at Texas State University announced Thursday night that they had identified the hairless dog-like creature. CANS TV of San Antonio provided a tissue sample from the animal for testing. Also, in Syracuse, New York, a dentist was dancing to a song on the radio while drilling a woman's tooth, and she wound up in the hospital when the drill bit snapped off and lodged her in the eye. That's what the lawsuit alleges. Brandy Fanning, 31 years old, said she had to undergo emergency surgery that day. She spent 3 days in the hospital because of the October 2004 mishap. The federal lawsuit filed last month against Dr. George Trusty seeks $600,000 for medical expenses pain and suffering. Back to you, Bill.
Also in international news, Winona, Minnesota. A woman wants abuse charges filed against an acquaintance who was pet-sitting her pot-bellied pig and allowed the animal to get fat. Michelle Smith said her pig, Elena Templeton, weighed 50 pounds. That's 22.7 kilograms if you're in Canada. When Schmidt left her with a co-worker who offered to care for the animal in February, when Schmidt went on medical leave to recover from an ankle surgery. 9 months later, the pig weighed 150 pounds at 68 kilograms if you're in Canada, and it took veterinarians 4.5 hours to surgically remove the animal's collar. The Winona Daily News reported officers are investigating whether Elena was abused by the sitter's neglect, and over-free investigator Jeff Mueller of the Winona County Sheriff's Department said Tuesday that no charges had been filed against the pig sitter, whose name was not released. Schmidt, 22, said she bottle-fed Elena when she was just 11 days old. Back to you, Jeremy.
She tried to recover the pig in April. Schmitz said that the co-workers would not return her calls. She said that she didn't know where the woman lived and that she finally found the woman's farm Saturday. She discovered that Elena's neck had grown around her collar and that the pig had trouble breathing. The pig now wears bandages and is healing from the pressure wound and neck infection. Schmidt said that she cried for 3 days after discovering her pet's weight problem. That pig was my life, said Schmidt, who has a tattoo of Elena's name on her butt. Back to you, Bill.
Muncie, Indiana. This time the snakes weren't on a plane, they were on a bus. Now, a 21-year-old man who police say picked up a package of venomous baby timber rattlers at the post office and took it home on a city bus is facing charges. Dustin A. Draper of Muncie faces preliminary charges of possession of an endangered species and the transportation of a dangerous reptile without a permit. He was in jail Friday at $350,000 bond. It was not known if he had obtained an attorney. Postal inspector told the Indiana Department of Natural Resources and county police about the shipment of rattlesnakes. Officials were waiting for Draper when he got off of the bus near his apartment Thursday. He wants to be cool and have venomous snakes, said Sergeant Ed Rooker, a DNR conservation officer. Anyone who handles dangerous or wild animals in Indiana must have a state permit. And possessing endangered species like timber rattlers is illegal, Rooker said. The DNR said Draper is a known buyer and broker of venomous snakes. He was arrested last November on charges that he tried to sell an undercover conservation officer an eastern diamondback rattlesnake snake. He was given a suspended 60-day jail term and fined $360 in Muncie City Court. Draper also faces similar charges from August for possession of an adult king cobra. Draper has also advised to get a state wild animal permit according to court records, although he never applied for one. Harris was listed in good conditions Tuesday, officials at University Hospital in Iowa City said. Harris was hunting with a group about 3 miles north of Grinnell. The group shot a bird, and when Harris went to get it, he put his gun on the ground and crossed a fence. As he crossed the fence, now listen, his hunting dog stepped on the gun. Foster said the gun was about 3 feet away from his leg. The muzzle velocity is so great that the pellets don't have a chance to spread out, he said. No one else was hurt, and the dog was not injured. Foster said no citations have been issued. Back to you, Jeremy.
Good.
That concludes Redneck Does the News. On behalf of Caleb William M. Glass and Jeremy C. Benny, have a good night and safe hunting.